Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, let's pull up this screen. Oh, yeah. Josh Heupel receives national praise for the last 2 seasons. We've also got an elite QB that's really high on the Vols. And we're going to take a look at both of those stories. So let's start out with Josh Heupel. All right, folks, Josh Heupel gets top marks as CBS Sports grades college football second-year coaches. And Heupel, of course, was one of the latest hires on the coaching carousel, and that's because we had an absolute nightmare in Knoxville with Jeremy Pruitt, the NCAA, and all that crap. But it says 2 years later, it's been proven that it's one of the best hires in college football. In 2 seasons, he's had 18 wins. He started out 7-6. This year, 11-2. Despite taking over on the heels of a 3-win season amid an NCAA investigation and significant roster turnover, his work at Tennessee earned him one of the highest grades among second-year coaches from CBS Sports. It says college football analyst Tom Fornelli assessed all 17 of the post-2020 hires, and Heupel was one of the 4 coaches to receive an A grade. Along with Brett Bielema, Lance Leopold, and Kane Womack. It talks about his 7-6 season in 2021. And let me tell you something, that was a great season. I know we should have probably won 9 games, but that was an awesome display of offense. And we were in every game. You know, we gave Alabama grief. We gave Georgia grief. You know, we were scoring like crazy. I think we averaged 41 points that year and finished 7th in offense in the country. So we were well on our way. And everybody in the SEC was calling it a gimmick offense and all this crap like they always do. Well, now we know it's the furthest thing from a gimmick because it's worked everywhere he's been. It worked in Missouri. It worked at UCF. It's worked here 2 years in a row. It worked in the Orange Bowl. And it talks about how this year it was the #1 offense in college football, Offensive Player of the Year, Hendon Hooker, Biletnikoff Award winner, Jalen Hyatt. And realize Hendon Hooker was sitting on the bench. He'd gotten benched at Virginia Tech, wasn't good enough for them. Worked out pretty good for him here. And Hyatt was really somebody we were wondering, when's he ever going to show up? Biletnikoff Award winner. So pretty strong. So I think a lot of the Vols fans see Josh Heupel like this.
Come on, tough guy.
Yep, Chuck Norris Jr. And here he talks about his assessment. He was named SEC Coach of the Year by the Associated Press, which really means National Coach of the Year because the SEC dominates and rules. When Tennessee hired Heupel, it was a move that made sense to me. It wasn't one I thought would be anything special, however. Man, I got to agree with that. As you folks know, I wasn't fired up about his hiring, but I was wrong. The program was under the threat of NCAA penalties, had not only been disappointing on the field, but boring to watch. If nothing else, Heupel's offense would make things fun on Rocky Top. Things have certainly been fun, but I didn't see 2022 coming. The Vols went 11-2, knocked off Alabama, and finished the season with an Orange Bowl win over Clemson. Says the losses to Georgia and South Carolina, along with an injury to Hendon Hooker, kept them from being a pure fairy tale. But that was the most fun any Vols fan has had watching their football team in a long time. And it talks about Tennessee waited nearly a month after its 3-7 season to move on from Jeremy Pruitt, who was fired for cause after a joint internal NCAA interview turned up major recruiting violations. They're hoping for a final resolution on the case in the coming weeks. They changed the athletic director. They let everybody go. So the NCAA actually said they had done a sterling job as far as cooperation, really something that every school should do. So I don't think we're going to get hit too hard with NCAA probation or anything like that, but they'll probably do a slap on the wrist if I had to guess. All right, folks, now we're going to talk about a recruit, and this kid is just a sophomore in high school. His name's Cutter Boley, and he is an elite quarterback out of the state of Kentucky. Now, I know what you guys are going to say. Why are we even looking at a sophomore in high school as far as a recruit? That's 2 years away. Well, the reality is with Nico sitting there, we're probably going to struggle bringing in a real high-end guy in 2024. It's going to be difficult. So I know we'll bring in a quarterback in 2024, but I don't know if he's going to be super high-end. Whereas in 2025, that's when you're going to need to bring in the 5-star or somebody super close that fits what you want in your program. And this guy looks like he might fit the bill pretty darn good. And I know what you're going to say. 6'5", 200 pounds. He's probably gangly and doesn't run well and all that. Well, that's absolutely not the fact. This guy is actually a track dude, and he moves really well, especially when he's got 2 more years to mature, I mean, this guy moves well on the field. And I'll show you that on these highlights. Now, you see him back in the shotgun, and that's what all the kids now are doing. You don't see him under the center very often. And look at this arm. I mean, this kid's a sophomore. Remember that. He's got 2 more years of maturing, but he moves great. He avoids the rush. Still got touch on the ball in between 2 defenders. And I've watched this whole highlight film, and this guy really throws the ball well for a sophomore. It's almost shocking. I can see why he's almost a 5-star. I mean, look at that pass right between 2 defenders. That is ideal. That's great touch. And being 6'5", he can see above the line really well. But look how he runs. I mean, he is not gangly. He is not slow. He runs the high hurdles. He runs track. I don't think that's going to be an issue. And for Josh Heupel's offense, you don't have to be a track star. You just need to be able to move. And look, here he goes. See, he's not slow at all. He moves well. You get him in the training room, a couple more years, this kid's going to move great. So I can see why Josh Heupel is so high on him. And this guy's been to Knoxville 5 times already, and he's going to come here 2 more times. So he's very high on the Vols, and I think we might be the leader for him. Look at this throw. Kid's, what, 15, 16 years old, and he's just whipping it out there like a senior. He's probably going to be about 220, 230 by the time he's a senior and be throwing it another 5 or 10 miles per hour. But see, he moves really well. Look at this touch. Boom. So again, I can see Josh Heupel definitely wanting to get a hold of this recruit and make him a priority, which he has done. Perfect touch. So that's quite a few highlights to show. But look, I mean, his highlight reel is fantastic. So I think the Vols have a very good shot at him in 2025. And I can assure you Halsley is probably thinking the exact same thing. All right, folks, just wanted to cover those 2 news stories. Thought they were pretty interesting. I normally won't cover a sophomore, but this guy looks like he could be a real winner for us. So I'll keep you updated on how the recruiting's going for him. And then Heupel, of course, winning an award, that doesn't surprise us any. I personally think he's the best coach in the country, which, again, I didn't even want to hire him. So there you go. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover the Vols and the SEC and all those good things. And if you have not subscribed, it's right here on the left. Costs you nothing. Just hit that little button right there. Boop, and you're done. Helps me. Costs you nothing. And also, YouTube puts a video right here. It's my most recent one. It's quite popular. Be sure to check that out. And I hope you did like the content. We'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.